Hey, I'm Callie. Thanks so much for watching Graceland Online. Graceland Church exists to see lives transformed in the neighborhoods, in the generations, and the nations through Jesus Christ. The teaching that you're about to hear is based on the Bible, and we believe that it will be inspiring and relevant to your life. And if you're here because you're searching for answers to tough questions and looking for help on how to navigate life, we would love for you to text us with any questions, or if you just need someone to talk to. And again, thanks for watching Graceland Online. We're praying for you, and we hope that this video will be an encouragement to you on your spiritual journey.
Hey folks, how's it going? Have you heard of a guy named Gordon Ramsay before? Cooking phenom. He's the guy that yells at restaurant owners because they serve really bad food and they have dirty kitchens, and he makes them cry. If you've heard of him before, then you should know about the guy that made Gordon cry when he was starting off in his career. His name is Pierre, and he was the youngest British chef ever to be awarded 3 Michelin stars. And this is a big deal, folks. This is like the Oscars or the Emmys or the Grammys for being a chef. He was super successful and had a ton of influence. He had money and power. But he was really, really angry, though, in the kitchen. And he was always on edge. And he was always chasing perfection in his craft. He had something that seems to be common amongst us, and that is a fear that told him he would never be good enough. And if he didn't succeed, he'd be lost. He would have lost. And this fear drove him for most of his career. He tried to fight back against it. He gave away. He gave back his Michelin stars. But by his own admission, he's still the scared little boy that he was years ago. And for him, work was still the greatest painkiller known to man. He was a workaholic and still is. Now, the specifics of his story might be a bit different from ours, but really the story, the general story is the same. You might find that your identity is wrapped up in any number of things, like relationships. So maybe you're married, or maybe you're wanting to be married, or maybe you have children, or maybe a job. Maybe getting a promotion means the world to you, or being a boss of your own company, gaining influence and power. You want to make a name for yourself, or even maybe, just maybe, you like video games so much that you're willing to grind for hours and hours on end to get every possible achievement that a game has, and you don't care what it takes to get it. But could you imagine what it would look like, though, if that thing, like that relationship, that job, or whatever, was taken from you? What would it do to the inside of you? What would be going on in the inside of you? Would life be able to go on? Would you want it to go on? You see, in this series, this Leap of Doubt series that we've been going through, we've been considering what it means to be made by God, and also why we have warrant to believe that God is real, and a whole bunch of other really important stuff. But today we're looking at how the greatest problem that we have, it's not out there. It's not something unnamed, which means that it's not just a lack of education, though that may be true in certain parts of the world. It's not economic injustice, though that is certainly real in lots of places of the world. But it's not nameless and nebulous. It's right here on the inside, and that's the problem of sin. But what is sin? Sin is distrusting God. It's disregarding what he says about himself, yourself, and the world around you. And it has a very interesting starting point. It happens right in here, right on the inside. Believe it or not, sin and doubt and distrust, it all starts here. And it's really an identity problem. So just like Marco, or just like me on bad days, or even some good days, and like countless others, it's easy to forget who we are. And this identity problem, it worms itself out in all sorts of ways, especially conflict. In the New Testament, James, he's telling some of his friends about the source of conflict that's happening in their setting. So to paraphrase him, he asks the question, what causes fights and quarrels amongst you? Is it not that your desires are at war within you? It's because that you're friends with the way that the world works. You've made peace with that, rather than being governed by how God has designed life to work, being motivated by the things that God cares about. Paul said something similar in Romans, where the created order was interrupted because people wanted it to work differently than it was designed to be. Which then, that brings a whole new set of problems, right? It's not just an internal problem. It's not just an identity problem. Our identity problem then is fundamentally a worship problem. Tim Keller is helpful here. Our need for worth is so powerful that whatever we base our identity and value on, we essentially deify. We make that our God. We look to it with all the passion and intensity of worship and devotion, even if we think of ourselves as highly irreligious. Why? Because we were created for so much more than jobs and cars and money and sex and relationships and family. They're all beautiful, wonderful things, but they can't be the foundation. They can't be the bedrock of our lives. So for example, I love my little boy so much. He's my firstborn. He is smart and he's funny, he's charming, and he has these cute little Paw Patrol sandals that he wears all the time. Like my heart for him is so huge. And yet he can't be what my world is all about. He can't be the center of my universe. He can't bear the weight of what it means to be the center of my universe. He can't be what I base my existence off of. If I make him my world or anything else, I'm placing incredible, impossible expectations upon him that he's simply not able to meet. And his tiny 3-year-old shoulders can't stand that kind of pressure, and he would break. Why? Because of who he is. He's created just like you and me, just like everything else in our universe. And we both share the same identity, that we're created by God and we're created to know God, which means that our greatest longings for significance and worth, they're not found in clawing and stepping on people's throats, trying to get ahead at work. They're not found in building my life around one individual and placing impossible expectations upon them. Our identity must be found in someone who's bigger and stronger and even more worth it than us. And it's found in placing your trust in Jesus. So his life, his death, his burial, and his resurrection as well. But you might be thinking to yourself, but Tim, that's kind of narrow, isn't it? It totally is. I'll take that. But let me ask you a question. Is it a good thing to see a doctor when someone is sick? Why not eat a bunch of Mexican food? Maybe you've never heard of the medicinal qualities of nacho cheese, huh? Or what about trees? No one complains when trees need sunlight and rain in order to flourish and grow healthy. Of course not. Like, as good as nachos are, I'm going to the doctor when I have a cold. And if I'm planting a tree, I'm going to find the sunniest place I can so that it has the best shot of flourishing, ensuring that I can help it grow. And similarly, your worth and value and significance, and I would dare say your survival, is dependent upon who you root your life in, the foundation of your life. And so considering then that the problem is in here and it's not just out there, it brings tremendous clarity to us. Regardless if you've placed your trust in Jesus years ago, decades ago, or if you're just learning about what it means to follow Jesus for the first time, it helps us by pointing us to God's solution for our identity problem. And that's that Jesus died in our place and rose again so that we can have a brand new identity, that we can become part of God's family. And he wants his identity to be wrapped up into you too. And friends, that's what changes us. That's what transforms us from being worshipers, from finding our identity in all sorts of things around us, being consumed by this, that, and the other, to actually becoming servants to all and being intimately known by God. Friends, I'm so glad that you stopped by today. And please, if this encouraged you or challenged you, it might do the same to others. And so I would encourage you, like the channel, like the episode, subscribe to the channel, share this episode with your friends, and I'll see you soon.
Thanks again for watching Graceland Online. We hope that God spoke to you today through this video. And again, feel free to text us if you have any questions about anything you heard, or if there's a way that we might be able to help you. And you can also find more videos and resources at gracelandchurch.online. And if you feel that you've been blessed by these videos, please consider donating so that we can continue sharing more content to more people. Thanks again for watching, and we hope you'll join us again soon.